Over the years, I've heard many young adults say that they felt destined or doomed to become products of their environment. At 8 years old, I knew that becoming a product of my environment was not something that I desired for myself. I remember one morning while I was walking to school, I looked up to the sky and noticed that the sun was shining on the skyscrapers in downtown Los Angeles. They sparkled and they shine, and in that moment, I felt hope, I felt strength. I decided to make myself a promise. I promised to always stand strong amongst the madness that life has to offer. I promised to persevere and shine just like those buildings one day. I have spent the last 40 years of my life giving myself a fighting chance to live free from the dysfunction of my childhood. I grew up in a poor Hispanic neighborhood riddled with gangs, violence, and drugs. My walks to school were spent avoiding the drug dealers and the child molesters. The problems of my inner city environment were just half of my struggle. You see, I was born to a drug-addicted mother, a father I'd never met, and an abusive, violent, alcoholic stepdad. Having a place to call home was just a luxury. We were in and out of motels, and even if we did have a stable home, we didn't have the essentials like food, electricity, or sometimes even toilet paper. We slept on the floor and hoped that the rats and mice, roaches didn't crawl over us while we slept. Time seemed to fly once I hit my teenage years. One of my brothers ended up in the California Youth Authority for a very long time, and my little brother was a runaway. I ended up becoming my grandmother's caregiver and would often see my own mother panhandling on the corners for her next fix. I felt lost. I had no purpose. I hated school. I hated school because it made me feel stupid. I was so far behind, even for a kid enrolled in special ed. My relationship with school ended me up in a group home. But in this group home, I realized just how close I got to that cycle I hated so much, like teenage pregnancy, domestic violence, addiction, and poverty. In this group home, I was surrounded by amazing people that had been in my shoes, that taught me how to take care of myself. They taught me how to be mentally and physically and financially strong. At 16 years old, I was self-sufficient with the roof over my head and money in my pocket. I have always worked hard, made wise choices whenever it came to friends, work, partners, and even the communities in which I've lived. Of course, I've made mistakes, but I have chosen to learn from these mistakes. Never look back. My only regret is that before I had kids, I did not see the value of my own education. This didn't happen until my 16-year-old son called me out and gave me the push that I needed. And today I'm on my way to becoming a nurse. Since I have broken away from the environment of the inner city that wanted to mold me into one of those statistics that you read about in the paper, I can tell you for certain, we are not destined to be products of our environment. We are products of what we believe and what we promise we can do. I made myself that promise at 8 years old, and I'm so happy I did. I believe that anything is possible if you put forth the effort and believe in your dreams. My hope is to one day give back and provide leadership, hope, and encouragement